We are here on the corner of Maiden and William Street, standing outside the Federal Reserve Bank in New York City. Now, I'm not here to report to you today about what is within the walls of this institution, but rather what's below it. Just below this street, you will find the world's largest stockpile of gold reserves. With the price of gold soaring over the past 10 years, we want to know and have a right to know just how much gold the U.S. government actually owns for the American people and where it is located. The vaults here at the Fed alone hold 270 million ounces of gold, but only 5% of that gold belongs to the United States. The remaining 95% belongs to foreign countries. So if that is the case, where in fact does the U.S. Treasury keep the rest of our gold for safekeeping? The U.S. Treasury claims that 261 million ounces of our gold are both stored and distributed at its 4 U.S. locations, including Fort Knox, the Denver Mint, West Point Military Academy, and here at the Federal Reserve Bank. But how do we know for sure it's really there? The U.S. Treasury also claims that it still holds exactly the same amount of gold reserves that it held 30 years ago, and that they are in the exact same locations. The real problem with that is that no one has seen this gold or has been able to verify this gold in a very long time. The last real physical audit of our gold reserves was conducted shortly after President Eisenhower was inaugurated back in 1953. Think about that. No independent audit or physical counting of our gold reserves since that time. Yet in the meantime, every publicly traded company in the United States has to undergo a strict Congress-mandated audit every year. But not the Federal Reserve. There is no existing mandate for the Fed to be audited. Fortunately, Congressman Ron Paul has proposed a bill to audit both the Fed itself and the Fed's gold reserves. Last year, his efforts attracted significant bipartisan support, and his newly proposed bill is expected to pass the House this year. After all the financial bailouts, many Americans have lost faith and confidence in our large institutions, particularly our U.S. government. These gold reserves belong to the American people, not to the Fed, not to the U.S. Treasury. It is so easy to get caught up in our government's misinformation and lack of transparency that we forget this very fact. This is our gold, and without an audit, we have great reason to believe that our gold reserves no longer exist, which would further prove that our dollar is backed by nothing more than empty promises. As Ron Paul has said, if there was no question about the gold being there, you'd think we'd be anxious to prove that it is there. He also added, there is reason to be suspicious, and even if you aren't suspicious, why wouldn't you have an audit? Jack Neefsey, editor of whatamimissinghere.com, firmly believes that a large percentage of our gold reserves have been sold, leased, swapped, or given to other foreign countries and their central banks. And there is only one way to find out: audit our reserves. For more details of this story, go to whatamimissinghere.com and click on the article, Looking for Gold in All the Wrong Places. I'm Devin Almonte reporting for whatamimissinghere.com, changing the way you understand the news. See you next time.